So let me first start by saying I have friends that are members of DPD. I have the utmost respect for anybody that would willingly take on that job, right? I didn't do it. So the fact that you chose to do that, man, woman, or non-binary individuals, I have all the respect for you in the world. That's number one. Number two, I think when we talk about the way policing intersects with the community, we have to talk about the broader system, the way that it's set up, and the positions that it puts those police officers in. Oftentimes when we start talking about instances of over policing, it's because officers are being asked to respond to circumstances that they haven't been trained for, and that in all reality, they should not have to respond to. So if you go back to what we were talking about at the top of this interview in the Detroiters Bill of Rights, one thing that we're pushing for in that is a mental health crisis response team. Not police officers responding to mental health crises, but trained individuals, therapists, social workers that have the skill set to be able to do that. I think oftentimes when people hear terms like defund the police or demilitarize the police, the pendulum swings to the other side for them. And whether that's because of a media narrative or not, they hear that we want lawlessness, that we want to completely obliterate any form of safety. And when in actuality, what we're saying is that safety and policing are different things. Physical safety is a part of broader safety, but your mental health is a part of safety. Food equity and access to housing is a part of safety. So when we're talking about police officers that might be having frictious and difficult interactions with protesters, a lot of, I think, what we're talking about is the way the system has established them and put them at opposite sides as adversaries naturally. And we have to eliminate that standing in and of itself. We have to refuse to accept that binary that either you're on the side of the police or you're on the side of lawlessness, that either you're on the side of the community or you're on the side of evil over policing, right? Like the truth is actually in the middle. There are three sides to every story. And I think the more that we can create those type of dialogues, the better it will be. The one thing that I will say is, and you probably know this having with your background for the ATF, the use of tear gas and chemical weapons and biological weapons on citizens, the use of tear gas over the summer. That's a special carve out, right? The Geneva Conventions, Biological Conventions Warfare from the UN bans tear gas in times of war. And so there are certain things, there are questions that we have to ask as to why this is okay to use against citizens and residents that pay their taxes and show up to work and are part of this community when it isn't in other circumstances. And I think none of these things can be taken in a vacuum. So this conversation that you and I are having right here is really, really important. But if you only ever have just this part of the conversation and don't have the other parts of the conversation about mental health stability and about who is responding to mental health crises, about training and the type of training that police officers get, about the pay and whether or not police officers are being paid an equitable rate for what we're asking of them. Like if you don't have all sides of that conversation, then you're only ever going to end up with insufficient answers.